Okay, we're looking at mixed exercise 11 from the first year textbook. So it's on vectors, and we're doing question 7. So I'm given a diagram, but I'm told that vector AB is 3i plus 5j, so that's 3 to the right and 5 up, and AC is 6i plus 3j, and the first thing they want is BC. Okay, so if I just sketch out the vectors very roughly, A, B, C. Okay, so I've got a, oh, where that went. Okay, so I've got, I'm given vector AB. So I have that, oh, for goodness sake, sorry, I have that vector there. And I have vector AC. So obviously the direction with vectors is very important. So just make sure you can see which way they're going. And I'm asked for vector BC. So that specifically means from B to C. So that is that vector there. So to get from B to C, I need to go, let's get highlighter. So to get from B to C through the two vectors that I know, so let's move that up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. I need to go from B to A and then from A to C. So I actually need to go minus AB. Yeah, I need to go backwards along AB and then the correct direction along AC. Okay, so that is going to be minus AB, and AB was 3i plus 5j, and AC was 6i plus 3j. So looking at my I vectors, that's going to be minus 3i plus 6j. So, sorry, I said j, minus 3i plus 6i. So let's try that again. So 3i, and then I just need to be careful about this minus, because that's going to make that minus 5j plus 3j, so minus 2j. There's other ways you could justify it, but as long as you're taking into account that you're going the reverse direction along AB. Okay, right, then they want angle BAC. So that's this angle here. And we're sort of going to move away from vectors a little bit and think about trigonometry. So obviously that's not necessarily a right angle triangle. I'm not told whether it is or not, so I can't assume that it is. I don't think it is. So this is going to involve sine rule or cosine rule. I'm not going to be able to use sine rule because I don't have any of the angles. So for cosine rule, so if this is angle A, I need the 3 side lengths. And lengths of vectors is very straightforward. It's just going to be Pythagoras. So the length of AB is going to be, so AB is 3i plus 5j. So the length of AB is going to be the square root of 3 squared plus 5 squared. So root 34. The length of AC, so this is vector AC. So that is going to be the square root of 6 squared plus 3 squared. So root 45. Not going to bother simplifying any of these surds because I'm just going to use them again in my next calculation. And then BC I know is 3i minus 2j. So the length of BC is going to be the square root of 3 squared plus 2 squared. So that is going to be root 13. Okay, so I've got my 3 lengths, so now I can almost ignore the fact it's vectors. In fact, let's just, I should label which bit I'm doing. So we've just done A, and now we're doing B. Okay, so just sketch that triangle out again, because really, like as I said, it's now just a trig problem. Okay, and I worked out, see if I can remember those 3 answers. I think we just worked out that that was root 13. I think that was root 34 and that was root 45. I'm just going to double check those. 45, 34 and 13, lovely. And I want angle A. So that is just going to be cosine rule. So so this is side A. So I'll write it out fully, but obviously root 13 squared is going to be root 13. So if you just went straight to that, that's quite sensible. So A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C times cos A. Okay, so hopefully cosine rule is not a problem. So before I stick that into my calculator, let's just simplify that down a little bit. There's no need to type in the square roots and the squaring. So that's going to be root 45 times root 34 times cos A. Okay, so I tend to plug everything and then rearrange. So let's just do one more stage of simplifying. So 45 plus 34, hopefully a 79. Root 45 times root 34 times 2. So I've just stuck that into my calculator, and that's coming up as a simplified third of root 167. And obviously the cos A is not inside the square root. So I'm going to minus the 79 from the 13. Obviously I've got a minus on both sides, so I could just cancel that negative. So then it's going to be minus 66 divided by minus 6 root 170. I'm just using brackets there just to be on the safe side. Okay, so that is giving me cos A is 0.8437. So I just won't clear that from my calculator. So angle A is inverse cos or arc cos of that. So arc cos of that is giving me 32.5 degrees to 3 significant figures. Just going to check that before we carry on. Yeah, we're good so far. Okay, and then area of the triangle, that's only worth 2 marks. Now I know that is 32.5, although I'm just not going to, I'm not going to clear that answer that I already have, so I'll use 32.5. But if I hadn't just accidentally cleared that from my calculator, and I wasn't feeling lazy, I would use the exact answer there. But area of a triangle is half A, B, sine C. So half of the product of 2 sides times sine of the angle between them. So we'll try and remember those 3 values. I think I've forgotten them already. So area, sorry, you can't see that. Area is half times A times B times sine C. Okay, so let's just check that. So sine 32.5 times root 34 times root 45 times a half is giving me an area of 10.5. And I think that, well, we didn't have units, so 10.5 should be absolutely fine, but it's square units depending on what the axis is measured in. Lovely. Jobs are good.